Hi, so I passed my Yachtmaster this week, and I have to say it was pretty hard. It was quite challenging. I've been sailing for a long time, and I thought it would be easier than it was. And I wanted to share the experience for anyone who's considering doing it. And if you know someone who's into sailing who wants to do it, then maybe pass this on to help them. I really wanted to just cover what I wish I'd known before I started the process. And I guess you should ask yourself, should you do it? And I certainly spent quite a bit of time over the last week saying, should I really be doing this? It's quite a lot of work, and what for? And in my case, it's just if I want to charter a big boat, I can charter up to 82 feet long now, anywhere in the world. And I'm not commercially endorsed. To go on to commercial endorsement is not too difficult from where I am at now, which would mean I could take paying passengers. So you need a full medical, C5, which I've already got, and you've got to just fill out some more multiple choice exams. But the key thing about getting the Yachtmaster is a bit like a driver's license. Once you've got it, you've got it. So what do you need to get it? First of all, well, you have to really do the Yachtmaster theory course. That's a week in the classroom. I did mine 4 years ago. I wish I'd done mine earlier. I did the course this week with UKSA, based in Cowes, and the other people on the course were basically going from zero to hero. So they're on a 16-week intensive program to get the sailing experience, the passages they needed, and the theory. And so for them, it was all very fresh. It was a different experience. So on the water, I think I was more experienced with the boat handling and the various exercises, but they really had the theory embedded in them because they'd been training more recently on it. So you really do need to do the theory course, and you'll get this syllabus book. You'll get the shore-based notes when you do the theory course. You'll also get lots of chart training and training almanac, and so you do learn a lot on the theory, so that's quite key. In the syllabus book, you've got your personal log, which is where you log all your sea miles, and most importantly, it gets down to what you need. And you need 2,500 sea miles, number of days at sea, I think it's about 60 days at sea minimum, and your night hours, and those are in your log. I had to go back through some old log books. It's over the last 10 years. So I had passages that were going to start falling off, and that was another motivation for doing my Yachtmaster now, because come a few years I would have to go back and do more passages to replace the ones that were falling off several years back. But the key thing is you need the qualifying passages in this book, and the first thing that the instructor and the examiner will look for is have you got what you need. So basically you need at least 2 overnight passages, skippers, and a few more. So you need 5 passages basically over 60 miles. You also need your first aid course. That's pretty easy. You need your VHF radio license, and as I said, realistically doing this without doing the shore-based course would be pretty tricky. So the shore-based course will give you a lot of the theory. The only other things that weren't really clear to me was you needed to know a bit about radar plots, and in fact I hadn't done those on the theory course, and it'd been handy to have known about those. So I spent a lot of time in the week watching YouTube videos. The Casual Navigator on YouTube is really good. So the other things, just for brushing up on your theory, well, you've got to know the almanac pretty well. If you don't know about secondary ports and tidal heights and tidal curves, you're going to really struggle. You learn that in the theory course. And for me, it was 4 years ago that I did that course, but you really do need to know the almanac and secondary ports. And of course, the real frustration with a lot of this is that you won't use this sort of stuff because now we do so much with electronics. And the argument used to be, well, what happens if your electronics fail, like your chart plotter on your boat fails? Well, now we've got it on our phone. I've got a handheld GPS. So there's lots and lots of points of backup and the RYA are coming to the conclusion that ultimately they're going to have to change the syllabus because a lot of this stuff is never used anymore. It's a bit like being allowed to use calculators in exams. So the theory, so if you are going from zero to hero and you want to do a Yachtmaster program, you could do it with a sailing school. The key thing that you'll struggle with will be the sailing experience. And in fact, the structure of the course was that we had, for the first 4 or 5 days, we had an instructor which really prepares you for the exam. You've got to do that really because the instructor will pick holes in you. That's quite stressful because you keep being told where you're going to struggle. The examiner then comes for the last 48 hours, and the one thing that he specifies that he wants before, or she specifies before they arrive, is that they want a passage plan. Mine was actually from Alderney to Buckler's Hard in the Solent, and you need to have a record of your passage plan and how you're going to achieve that and what you're going to do. Mine was quite challenging because I had wind in the north in the high 20s, so I had to delay my passage and talk about how I'd get through the Needles Gate and over the bar at Buckler's Hard. But I was quite glad that I did this at the very beginning of the course because when I was asked for it on the last day of the examination, I had it all to hand and I could just talk through my notes. So having it written down is actually a good discipline, and I probably winged it in the past doing passages, and I think now I would probably go through the discipline of writing it down. As for the theory, as I mentioned, the guys who were doing the Zero to Hero, they were very strong on their theory because they'd just learnt it and it was all very much in their heads. I relied very heavily on this, and in fact I think I wouldn't want to be now owning a boat and not having one of these in the chart table. Just a little book on light, shapes, all the collision regulation rules. So that's quite key. So basically, if you've got lots of sailing experience, you're probably going to be a bit weak on the theory or a bit rusty on the theory, and you want to be spending time ahead of going with the instructor and then the examiner on the theory. If you're going from zero to hero, you're going to learn the theory and it's all going to be very fresh. But what you can't get is the sailing experience. And what was really interesting is one of our guys failed, sadly, because his boat handling just wasn't quite up to it. But his theory was amazing. He was the best of the four of us. So the structure is that the instructor comes along for the first 4 or 5 days to get you ready, and then the examiner arrives on board, and there's 4 of us on the boat doing the course. I was the only one stepping in. The others had been through the whole 16-week program. I was stepping in, so I immediately felt a bit weak on my theory, but felt fairly confident on the on-water stuff. So the examiner basically needs to examine each of you between 4 and 8 hours to go through all of the things on his tick box, like man overboard, under motor, under sail, picking up buoys, blind navigation where you're below, find me a place in the Solent, take me there, find me this point. So lots of sort of exercises that you have to go through, and then take me here. And the one of you is skipper and the other 3 act as crew, and what they're looking for is how well you manage the crew. And again, if you haven't got much experience of that, that's quite challenging. And then at the end, you'll have checked all the boxes, and have you managed to do all those things? I have to say, at the start of the course, I was really worried I was going to fail, mostly on my knowledge of recall on theory, but the practical exercises weren't too difficult for me. But if you're going to it fresh and you want to go from zero to hero, and you don't have much sailing experience, then I really do recommend that you get some experience of boat handling before you just embark on the course, because 16 weeks is quite a tough learning curve to learn all that theory. But anyway, I've got it. They're going to send me the certificate in the post. I'm feeling a bit relieved, and now I could go and charter a boat up to 82 feet long with the qualification. So if you're thinking about it, do pass this on to anyone who you know likes sailing, or you're thinking about doing it yourself. I'm happy to connect with anyone and help them just understand what you need before you start. And hopefully you'll find this helpful in getting your Yachtmaster. I went for Yachtmaster Offshore, by the way, which is a bit different from coastal skipper, but the offshore one, you need the 2,500 miles. You can go on the RA website and you'll find centres where you can do it, so I hope that helps.